Today I have with me, you may recognize him, Wang from a documentary, the Be About It documentary.
Liver cancer can be a death sentence sometimes. And so it really did change, I think it changed my outlook on life. People ask me, you send a lot of people to me and say, hey Alan, you know, can you talk to this guy? He's freaking out because they think, you know, whatever they have to go through is going to be life altering. You know, they're probably going to die, and it's really not like that. For me, I thought, oh man, I'm going to have to take a pill for the rest of my life, and that's going to cramp my style, and it doesn't. If you have a routine, if you brush your teeth every day, if you comb your hair, you know, it just becomes part of the routine. You know? Pop that pill, and in fact, my life has gotten even better in terms of just liver health, because now they can really take small slices and pictures of your liver. And he came back to me and said, Alan, it looks like you have a brand new liver. It's pink, it's beautiful, the shape is wonderful, and what it did, being on those antivirals, suppressed the virus long enough for my liver to regenerate. I mean, the human body is an amazing thing.
This is one of those diseases that you were lucky enough to catch when it's just in its virus form and hasn't become the cancer, and therefore there's so much we can do.
This is Howard Long right here.
Cameo right here.
For my family, when I was diagnosed with this was in the 90s, and even today, there's not a whole lot of information that doctors are giving their patients. Because, quite frankly, a lot of doctors don't come across Hep B patients, or they may have a handful of Asian patients, and they're just not paying attention to us. And so I didn't get the education I needed. So Jill was my girlfriend at the time. I infected her. It passed through her. You know, as you know, the virus, most adults who get it will show that they had it, they'll have the antigen, but their body will
beat it.
Yes, beat it. The majority of people who are chronic hepatitis B are those who were essentially like me. They were born, they contracted it at birth. Because from what we know, that pregnant women, their viral loads are very high because they're just putting everything they got into that baby. And they become very susceptible to it. So when the baby's being born, they're exposed to all those fluids. And that's where me and all of my siblings were exposed to it. And the statistic, 1 out of 4 is chronic, holds true. Out of 4 siblings, I'm the only one who's chronic. She went through this phase of just being scared to death. We were both scared to death. And so, like many patients, we had to connect the dots ourselves. It's a battle against ignorance is what this is. You know, I think my kids just growing up with me being a spokesperson for this, and we talk about it a lot, it's just been with them their whole lives. And so it doesn't scare them. They don't think about it a whole lot. They know that when they were born, they were vaccinated.
You see this problem with people just going to see their the doctor for their annual physical. I feel fine. I don't need this. Why? And when I feel some pain, I'll do something about it. But just getting checked, like taking care of your body, you check, you do your oil change on your car, just to do that, this 5-minute test. Can make sure whether you have this virus, and then you do just what Alan did, and I believe it's something like 60 to 70% who have chronic Hep B won't progress to, if they're under management, whether that be just seeing their doctor or taking the antiviral, will live full healthy lives.
And by the way, the nodules were never there. The guy had a new machine, sonogram, ultrasound machine. They calibrated it wrong, and they saw something that just wasn't there. And I was like, great, thanks for scaring the hell out of me. But you know what people should be scared about is not talking about it, not having conversations with their families and friends. If you're not talking about it, and if you're not educating people to go get a simple test, then that's what you should be afraid of. You know, for a culture of people who value education and family as much as we do, how is it that we don't want to talk about this because it's bad luck?
Right.
Right? Hepatitis B is scary, but it's not as scary as you think it is. It's really not. And that's just a no-brainer. If you're afraid to talk about it because of, what people are going to think about you, that's just all ego.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put that aside, because when you're dead, you don't have an ego.
This is one of those things that we say time and time again. You hear over public health all the time again. Oh, tell other people education. But this is really one of those things that you can really save lives by sharing this message.
You got to be your own health advocate. You really do. Another friend of mine who got the vaccine, it's a 3-shot vaccine still. She asked her doctor, so after my 3rd shot, when am I safe to be sexually active? He didn't know.
There's always issues. The best you can do is keep asking questions for your doctor. And, that's the thing that's going to make doctors pay attention more. When their patients ask more questions. And that's why, again, Alan's saying, talk about the issue. When patients ask doctors, hey, what about this Hep B thing? The vaccine, is it 2 doses now or 3 doses? What does that mean for my life? And what's the distance between that? That will make doctors be more interested in learning more about the issue, which is so important for our work anyway.